Hey, basketball fans, lots of debate on whether or not the NBA should return this season. If you think it should return like I do, give us a big thumbs up and like this video. Lots of debate. Kyrie Irving spearheading the storm into action. We got the latest details on that and more on today's show. For those of you who missed it, Kyrie Irving late last week basically started a charge saying that the NBA should not return, that it would be a distraction to the fight against racial inequality. Well, Stephen A. Smith has ripped Kyrie Irving and players who agree with him for this thought, saying that you have a job to do, and basically saying that you can do both. It doesn't have to be one or the other. Now, here's the quote from Stephen A. this morning on ESPN show Get Up, saying, racial oppression is going to exist after the summer. It's going to exist next year. It's going to exist the year after, a year from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now. You're always going to have to deal with these things. So that is not an excuse to not show up to work and do your job. You can fight the fight while still showing up to work. And I agree with that. Look, if you're asking me, these games are all going to be on national television. You don't think it would send a powerful message if LeBron James and the Los Angeles Lakers were wearing a shirt that said fight for equality and they all put their fists up or something like that? I think that would be very powerful. Now, maybe Kyrie Irving has different thoughts in mind. This was something from his statement last Friday saying, I don't support going into Orlando. I'm not with the systematic racism and the BS. Something smells a little fishy. Not sure what exactly would be fishy from Kyrie Irving, but I do understand a little bit of what he's saying. But you can fight racial for racial equality while playing basketball. I don't think it has to be one thing or the other. So look, there's been players who have agreed with Kyrie. I know Dwight Howard came out and said it would be a distraction to try and play basketball right now with everything going on. I'm kind of on the side of why not send a message in front of the entire world on national television before and perhaps even during an NBA game. I don't think it has to be one thing or the other. I can certainly appreciate Kyrie Irving wanting to fight for racial equality. I'm not going to argue against that. But can't you do both? That's what Stephen A. is saying. I agree with him as well. Also, we have to wonder, too. Look, the Nets aren't a contender. Kyrie's not healthy. Durant's not playing. If Kyrie was healthy and on a contending team, would he do this? Type Y for yes, type N for no? I think it's a very, very fair question to ask in the end. Here's Kendrick Perkins also basically going the other way, saying, look, how can a guy's mindset change in 10 days? George Floyd was killed on the 25th of May. Kyrie's mindset just 10 days ago, which would have been June 5th, well after that, was when he wanted to go to Orlando. What's changed since then? What's changed is the NBA told him he couldn't go because the NBA has basically said, look, if you're not healthy, if you're not active and you're not going to be playing, we're not going to be taking you down or sending you down to Orlando, because the whole idea of the bubble is to have as few of the people as possible, only essential personnel. Kyrie Irving isn't playing, so why would he need to be down there? Maybe that's what changed his mind, knowing that he couldn't be with his teammates. Only he knows for sure, but that's speculation from Kendrick Perkins there in the end. Now, what we can all agree on is that we need to continue to stay safe. Our partner Fanatics released some new face coverings for you guys, so when you go to chatsports.com/NBA mask, you can represent your team in style. These 3-packs are just $24.99. They're cool looking. Look, there's already chatter that fan attendance next year may not happen. So that means if it does, you're going to have to wear one of these. That's just the bottom line. If you want to wear a cool one, represent your team, go to chatsports.com/NBA mask. I'll put that link in the comments and in the description. You click on it, it'll redirect you to the Fanatics website, and you can purchase these today. So the NBA for now is returning, despite Kyrie Irving trying to steer that the other day. We'll see what happens in the end. I expect it to return. Look, as of now, it's going to return on July 30th. 22 of the 30 teams have been invited, will be participating, like we've informed you guys over the past couple of weeks. And we know that every team's going to play 8 games before the playoffs start. Here's kind of a little timeline for you guys for the next couple of months. Today, international players have to return to their local markets, like a Luka Doncic, Kristaps Kristaps Porzingis. If they're out of the country, I know Luka is for a fact, has been, got to return June 21st. The rest of players have to return to their teams and to their markets. June 22nd, COVID-19 testing begins because all these players have to get tested ahead of time. Start of training camps will begin June 30th at their home facilities before heading down to Orlando on July 7th to continue training camp there in the bubble, as they're calling it. The seeding games, aka the regular season games, eight games for every team, July 30th to August 14th. So about 2.5 weeks there is when we will wrap up the regular season. The play-in tournament, if it's needed, remember if the 9 seed is within 4 games of the 8 seed, that'll happen August 15th and 16th. And then the NBA playoffs will begin on the 17th. Fans or family and guests of the teams will arrive on August 30th, which will be a limited number. We don't know exactly what that number is yet. Conference semifinals, conference finals, NBA finals. Last possible game as of now would be on October 13th, and the tentative date for the draft would be on October 15th. So that's kind of the next couple of months in the NBA, and we're going to have you guys covered for all of it here on Chat Sports. We'll have the latest rumors, news like today, what the latest is on the return to the NBA. The offseason is going to be hectic with the NBA draft and free agency. We're going to cover all of it here on Chat Sports. We'll go live a lot as well. So don't just subscribe. Turn on notifications so you know when we go live here on Chat Sports. And share that link below, youtube.com/chatsportstv. Help us out and help spread the word. Some more news, newsy in terms of like player specific, not in terms of the league returning, is Joel Embiid earned his guaranteed money. Now, when he signed his 5-year, $148 million contract a couple of years ago, it was incentive-based for the first 3 seasons because he missed the first 2 years of his career. He's been banged up. So what he had to do was reach a minute incentives, reach it the past 2 years, and then this year he reached it as well based on the prorated games, which they moved back to March 11th, which was like the day before the NBA got suspended. So he reached it. He's good to go. He gets the full guaranteed on his remaining contract, which is like 3 years and $95 million. So he reached that number. He's been able to stay mostly healthy for the most part and has been able to reach those incentives with the Philadelphia 76ers. They protected themselves when they signed the contract, and Embiid has done his part by staying healthy and playing a lot of minutes. Obviously, lots of debate on who the best player on the Sixers is, so let me know what you guys think. Type J for Joel Embiid, type B for Ben Simmons. I think Embiid definitely is the better player, but he also is a little bit more injury prone, but I'm still going to type my J. He's been really good. Chatter continue to kind of swirl. Will they split these 2 stars at some point? I talked about that a couple of videos ago. If the Sixers come up short in the playoffs this year, an early exit, they could split these 2 guys up. Embiid, like I said, he's been able to stay healthy the last few years because the first 2 years of his career, he was not able to do so. But good news for him. He gets his full guaranteed money on this contract. In a couple of years, he'll probably sign another major deal if he is able to stay healthy. But that's good for him, and it's good for the Sixers because that means he's been able to be out there. Some rumors surrounding the Golden State Warriors. As you guys know, they have the best odds to get the number 1 pick. NBA draft lottery is tentatively scheduled for August 25th. We'll see if that changes or not, but they had the worst record in the league, which means they have the best odds. Look, most people would think, they're just going to draft Anthony Edwards, James Wiseman, one of these top guys, but there's reports coming out of the San Francisco Chronicle that they have interest in some sleeper prospects. Look, we got to give them the benefit of the doubt, right? They've hit on some pretty key players in the last decade, and that's not just in the top, 3 or 5 picks. They got Steph Curry, number 7 overall. I'd say that worked out pretty well. Klay Thompson, yeah, pretty good. Draymond in the 2nd round. Look, I'm not the biggest fan, but you find a Draymond Green player at pick number 35, the way NBA drafts go, that's pretty darn good. Who should the Warriors draft if they do end up getting the number 1 pick in this year's NBA draft? Again, the draft lottery on August 25th. Let me know, who would you take if you got the number 1 pick for the Golden State Warriors? Now, these 2 players in particular were the ones talked about a lot from the San Francisco Chronicle, Saddiq Bey and Devin Vassell out of Villanova and Florida State. Now, most big boards have them like in the middle or latter part of the draft lottery, so like pick 8 through 15, basically. And if they're going to go a sleeper round, I don't think they'd take one of these guys number 1, but maybe if they don't get, the top 2 or 3 picks, these guys could be an option, more like wing players. Now, I think the thought from Golden State is that, yeah, sure, Saddiq Bey may not have as much talent is James Wiseman, but he might be able to help them more sooner. These are more NBA-ready prospects, Bey and Vassell, as 3-and-D guys. Obviously, Wiseman, Edwards, LaMelo Ball, on most big boards, these are the top 3 guys you are going to see, but in some cases, like a James Wiseman specifically, it might take a couple of years for these guys to get up to speed. A 3-and-D player like Saddiq Bey, who shoots 45% from 3 this past year at Villanova, he can plug in right away and give you valuable minutes, as can a Devin Vassell, who's an excellent perimeter defender. Be very curious to see which way the Warriors go. We know this, they're not rebuilding, they're retooling for next season.